Hey, what's going on, everybody? Just another month here at Bad Anime Podcast, except for it isn't, baby, because we got a whole month of Hideakianno to get through. That's right, this month is Anno month. If you do not know Hideakianno, he's the legendary creator of Neon Genesis Evangelion and all of the Evangelions to follow. And although Evangelion will be on the top of our list to tackle this month, the final week we have reserved for a separate show directed by Hideakianno before Neon Genesis Evangelion. Ain't that fun? So happy Anno month, you kids. Enjoy the show, or whatever it is, the audio presentation, something like that. What is on Shinji's hand?
It's bad. Anime.
I'm John, that's Rob. Go watch part 1. All right, everybody. Okay.
Welcome back.
Okay.
Breaking format for the first time.
Bad anime. So what I was saying is that I feel like I'm a person that needs to have everything not necessarily spelt out to them, but I would like to know everything about the plot.
Right.
And there are so many things that Hideaki Anno did in this show that were very fascinating in terms of the plot structure.
Okay.
And what everything is, like what is Nerve? What is Seele? How do they relate to each other? Kind of, what are the Avas? Why were they built?
What is human instrumentality?
What is human instrumentality?
Wow, that was a lot of teeth when you said is.
The big fucking question I have over this whole thing. And I cannot get, this is probably the most fired up I'm going to get, other than when we talk about Toji. Because, because
I can't wait to hear what you have to say about Toji.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about the last 2 episodes of Evangelion.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. While I was watching them, I can't say that I didn't like them.
Okay.
But I just felt like I missed something, you know?
Yeah.
Like there was something that I just didn't watch that now I'm just in this space for 40 minutes.
Right.
And this comes to one of my big critiques of the show.
Okay.
Big critique. Human instrumentality, fine. You can spend the entire series talking about it and not tell me what it is.
Right.
I might be okay with that.
Okay.
I might be okay with that. What I'm not okay with is starting the last 2 episodes in that very art housey style and running with it without giving it a trigger.
Yeah.
Without having somebody at Seele, somebody at Nerve, something somewhere, or somebody pressing a button that says, this is the beginning of the human instrumentality project. And then it begins from there. The fact that we didn't get that, quite frankly, pissed me off. Because at the end of the show, I can understand how maybe some people would have really liked that and kind of getting thrown into that. But for me, it felt completely unwarranted, unbased. And by the end of it, I was like, even if this was a good way to end the show, it had no trajectory. There was nowhere that it said human instrumentality is starting now.
Right.
At the end of Eva, that changed. It was a little different.
Yeah, it was a little more clear.
And I appreciated that.
Right.
But in the show, it went from 24 to 25, and I was just saying to myself, is it this? Is this human instrumentality? If there was some kind of scene where Gendo or Seele said, human instrumentality, it is upon us, or it begins now, I would completely understand and completely be fine for the last 2 episodes, but I wasn't.
Gotcha. I was the complete opposite, where for me, I adored the fact there was no warning, that it just happened, because like partway through 25 I realized what was going on. I'm like, wait, no, because in 25 they gave you the hints, because you saw Ritsuko's corpse, you saw Misato's corpse, they flashed up. I'm like, wait,
yes,
what?
I distinctly remember seeing the corpses, and that was a part that I was like, when are they going to get to that? And see, this is the big dichotomy, I feel like, with the ending.
Gotcha.
The times that I've read online, I feel like this is perfect for us, because you and I are on the exact opposite sides of the fence on this.
Love it.
Which is why I love this conversation, because, the end of the show put such an emphasis on the characters,
Yes.
and the emotions of the characters, and how the show ended was very much on these characters and them reaching their place, right? The parts that they flash, like the part like Misato dead and Misato shot and Ritsuko shot and whatnot. I was significantly more interested in that.
Gotcha.
In the ending, I was significantly more interested in what's actually happening during all this. what is the idea of this whole event? What is human instrumentality? What did Sele do? What did Nerve do? What is the behind the scenes behind all of this?
Right.
I was significantly more interested in all of that than all of the kind of mind diving that this show did on the main characters, which I overall, I thought it was beautiful. I appreciate it. And when the show finished, my exact thought process for 24 hours was, fuck this show so much. I fucking hate this show. I hate this show. The show's fucking terrible. 10 out of 10. That was my entire thought. Because I knew when watching it, I was frustrated. Because I was like, show me what's actually happening.
Yeah.
But
the thing is that you cared.
I knew I cared. And I appreciated that they dove that deep into these characters. Right. Even Ray.
Right, yes.
And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Some of the best kind of character work I've ever seen in a show. Mm-hmm. But the part of me that needed finality, the part of me that needed just like a plot, and the plot that, to his credit, Hideaki Anno built up so well
that he did.
To be concluded and to have some sense of tell me the origins of this.
Tell me the origins.
Did not happen. Who's Adam? Who's Lilith? What the fuck is a Spear of Longinus?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know any of that. And I did not feel good feeling that way. And that's why this anime is so different from so many others, because it was comfortable in letting me feel that way.
Yes.
A lot of anime is like, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. We're going to show you about it. And the way this anime just completely disregarded all of my hopes about it made me, for some reason, like it more.
Yep. And I feel exactly the same way.
It's weird because we're at different spots. We have different startings on the ending, but I feel like we end up in the same spot.
Which is amazing here, yes, because our journeys to it's amazing because the easiest analogy I can use is we started at the same origin, we got to the same destination, we had very different routes to get there.
Yes.
For me, mine was more straight lined, where, again, like I said in part one, I'm just comfortable not knowing. Again, for a decade, my favorite anime was a 29-minute OVA that really didn't tell you anything.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with that as long as I can understand what the characters are going through. And if I can get enough of the gist. Like, okay, these two entities are responsible for creating human life, and they can be capable of destroying it. So I got like general gist. I'm like, okay, I can understand that much. Sorry. Ooh, boy, beer.
Oh yeah.
But so I'm not a very nuts and bolts type of viewer. As long as I can get the general idea, I'm in. And for Ava, I got the general idea. Let me say right now, I'm not claiming I understand Ava. There's a difference. Yes. I got the idea. To truly understand Ava, especially on the first viewing, I mean, if you're either a Mensa member or insane, no in between.
Yeah.
Absolutely no in between. But yeah, when I first watched episode 25 and 26, particularly episode 25, because that was one of the fastest feeling anime episode experiences I've ever had.
It was very
because
fast.
I've had a lot of anime when you hit the mid-roll, I'm just like, oh fucking god, move on. I have 13 more minutes.
Yeah.
Ava, I blinked once and I saw Ava's little body twirling in the moonlight. I'm like, it's over?
Yeah.
The mid-credit thing showed up? Where was this?
Yeah.
I got so lost in 25. Like, I just wasn't really ready for it. Because, like I said, I knew the ending got artsy. That's what I was told. So I'm like, okay, what are they going to do here? I didn't expect that. But I have to bring it back down a little bit because the fucking straight up slice of life sequence in episode 25.
Yeah.
There's been a spin-off manga set in that world.
Wow.
And I can't wait to eventually read it.
That's phenomenal.
Because, my God, that was adorable. And this is where I can bring up the dub again. The Netflix dub. The Netflix dub did that scene good. It was good. It's what the original was. I loved the original dub of that scene.
Interesting.
The original dub of that scene was hysterical. They put a lot more, because it's supposed to be funny, and they really amped up the comedy. They did not translate the lines one for one. And I imagine Amanda Wynn Lee was a script supervisor on this. She played Ray in the original ADV dub. She did a lot of production work on the series, and she had several roles in the Burn Up franchise.
Fun.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Cool.
And she played Rey very much the same way as I forget the actress who played her, actor or actress who played her in the Netflix dub. She was very good, but Amanda Winley, like I said, played it the same. However, she's very good at the over the top kind of Valley Girl, kind of like LA, kind of bratty type character.
Yeah, I see.
Which she played a lot in Burn Up. During the dream sequence, she gave that full treatment to Rey. Have I ever shown you that clip?
No.
Oh, we're watching that like immediately.
Amazing.
But anyway, and they changed up the lines in the dub, and it was hysterical. That's where the infamous line was, because because you're in the original Japanese and in this and in the Netflix dub, when confronted by Asuka, it's like, you're the one who flashed Shinji. Rey's response was, "Are you to an item or something?" In the ADV dub, they changed the line a little bit. The line was, "Oh, who are you and why are you defending him? Are you riding his baloney pony?" Cried.
Baloney pony.
Absolutely cried, because it's the same meaning, same line, but, made more understandable for American audience and played up the comedy present in the scene. Can I go on a tangent here about the ADV dub versus the original?
Please, go on a tangent. Take it.
Sure. I really like the Netflix dub. I think I screwed up the last sentence. I said original versus ADV. That is the original. Netflix versus ADV.
Yes. Go on your tangent.
Yes. I thought everyone in the Netflix dub was very good. Whoever played Shinji, I forgot their name, but they were excellent. I loved their ability to make Shinji actually sound like a 14-year-old boy. Because Spike Spencer was really good. He was great whenever Shinji had to scream. But in the more normal dialogue scenes, he's very clearly a 20-plus-year-old man playing a kid.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember the name. Was it? I think it was Tiffany Grant who played Asuka. And it's kind of the same thing there. Like, it was an adult woman playing a child. And again, I loved how in this Netflix dub, they actually sounded like children, which is really cool. One of my only critiques of the dub, I don't know if this was direction or if it was just the actor's choice, but whoever played Misato. One element of Misato's character is still present in the animation, so you still got but I wish they played up a little more. Because I think, was it Allison Keith? Is that her name who played her originally? I don't know. But anyway, I'm throwing a lot of names around here.
Sure, I know. Right.
But
go ahead.
In the Netflix dub, I didn't get as much as the sense that that Misato is a bit of a goofball. That's the thing. That's part of her character. She's a goofball. And especially in the first 10 episodes, like, hey, she's, just kind of a goof.
I do like the first 10 episodes in that way, where Misato just comes home and just like rips like 10 beers and just hangs out, and you're just like, this is cool.
Exactly.
I like this Misato.
I love this work. That's the thing. She's kind of a goofball. And I felt that they played her a little too straight in the Netflix dub, unfortunately. That's my only real critique of the dub. There's a whole controversy about Kaoru and Shinji because the way they translated one particular line versus how the ADV translated the line. I think both translations were applicable. And they both named the same thing. But we'll get to that more when we get to Kaoru.
We'll get to Kaoru, too. I almost forgot about Kaoru.
Yep. Anyway, so that's all I can say. That's all I'm gonna say for now about the dubs. I thought Netflix was good. It was good. Everyone needs to stop hating on it so much. I get it's not the original, but it had its positives. Anyway,
definitely. I think for now, what we could do is talk a bit about some of the side characters, because I think we've done a lot of talk about
the main cast,
and I think we can really break it down to our side characters and kind of who helped push this thing along. We talked about Kaji, of course. I mean, there are a lot of different characters I'd like to get into. I mean, there's of course, Professor Fuyutsuki. That's right. I remembered his name.
Good job.
There's Toji's friend, the guy with the camera. There's Toji. There's that girl that liked Toji.
I mean, you're forgetting Pen, so now I'm reconsidering this entire podcast.
Pen. Well, we have a theory. You have a theory that when Pen leaves the show, things really start to go down.
Well, yeah, there is a scene where I forgot I rambled this one time. Where yeah, I mean, I have to go back and this thing might be a little unfounded, but from what I remember personally, there's a great little scene where I think it was Masato gave Pen Pen a hug, or Masato said, "Come here, Pen Pen," and he just like bailed.
Yeah.
And that's like the last we saw of Pen Pen.
He was just like, I'm out.
Right before the series got very heavy. So once Pen Pen exited the story, things got dark.
Or Pen Pen finally maybe realized that he was a fucking penguin living in Tokyo 3, which is a nuclear hot city. So he left.
But he had his own little refrigerator room.
He did have a refrigerator room. He also had a collar, which I could really appreciate. That didn't say Pen Pen, but it said Pen Squared.
Yeah.
That was just really funny. I have nothing else to say about Pen Pen, but boy.
You have nothing else to say about Pen Pen? I don't either. I just love
But I do want to dive into Toji a little bit.
Yes, you mentioned this in part 1. You're big on Toji?
Big is a weird...
You had notes.
I have things about Toji.
Okay.
So, right, this kind of primarily lives in the first 10 episodes to 12 episodes, as we talked about how there's kind of this semblance of, like, school life, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And how Shinji's trying to make some friends, or, like, makes friends eventually. You have Toji and then that other kid with the camera that I can't remember his name.
I did very little research for this episode. I wanted to come in as raw and emotional as possible.
No, that's fine. And it's fine that we don't remember his name because he just doesn't matter.
In the original series, no.
That's kind of one of my big gripes about that whole idea. I mean, like, they're all in school together.
Yeah.
It seems like they're all grouped together because they are possible Eva pilots.
Yeah.
And everybody, as far as I know, everybody's mom had died in that school, or
possibly,
or like Toji's mother wasn't alive.
Yeah.
Shinji, of course, and there's a little talk about that. They don't really dive into it much.
No.
But overall, the school scenes are kind of just like an interest to get another part of Shinji's life.
Yeah.
And kind of like...
And even Asuka and Rei's.
Yeah, Asuka and Rei as well.
Yeah.
And then you get characters like that guy with the camera who really just doesn't matter, and unfortunately just really does not matter. But then you get somebody like Toji, who kind of sat at a very interesting point in the series where he's part of Shinji's life in terms of school, but then he's also selected to pilot Eva Unit 3.
And remember that at first Toji hated Shinji because he hated all Eva pilots because his sister almost got killed in an Eva battle.
Exactly.
So he hated Shinji at first. He gave him the big old punch to the face ski.
Yep. 100%. And I think that my whole thing on Toji, right, is that one episode where he does pilot Eva Unit 3.
Yes.
Then something happens with
it was 3, yeah.
Yeah, and something happens with Eva Unit 3 that it might go berserk or something. It goes berserk, or it's possessed by an angel, or it's taken control of by an angel or something like that. And it basically just starts going wild, and they have to fight Unit 3.
Yep.
So, and the entire time Shinji does not know that Toji is the pilot of Unit 3.
And they keep telling him, yeah, no one's in there, you're fine.
Yeah, right. And he, of course, bashes Unit 3.
Yep.
And only to find at the end that Toji was inside, making him very angry and him threatening to leave for like the upteenth time. Right?
I think it was only the second or third, but I don't remember.
It felt like more. But
it did. I get it. Yeah,
it happened a lot. But that happened, right? And then like he notices that Toji's inside it. And we basically don't see Toji for the rest of the series. But he's not dead.
No.
Which is wrong.
You just love it when people die.
Why would he be alive?
Yeah.
I think that was such a missed opportunity in the show, is like, why present Toji as this character? Yeah. Why give him so much buildup? Yeah. Why make him the pilot of Eva Unit 3 and never see him again in the show if he doesn't die to further the stakes?
Yeah.
And I think he was the perfect character to die to further the stakes, or to further Shinji's hatred of his father.
Yeah.
The way that didn't happen made me mad, because I was like, why are you going to present this whole thing if you're just going to kind of forget about it?
Yeah, if you could not really have him, yeah.
That was my whole thing about the whole school life, is, it did kind of present an interesting alternative, like Shinji's trying to live this life of being a regular kid but also as an Eva pilot, but it really just didn't hit.
Yep, okay.
It really just didn't have a payoff for me at all.
Okay,
and it really didn't further the stakes of anything, having Toji in that position.
I mean, it's furthered it in the stakes were like Shinji's reaction. Really. Yeah, because Shinji was distraught.
He was distraught.
You would have thought that Toji died.
Right. But if Shinji killed Toji, higher stakes, right?
Higher stakes, yeah, but I don't know if you...
Shinji would have been freaking out a little more, I think. Exactly. Things would have been a little more like off the rocker.
Yeah.
But just Toji's position in the show was so weird.
Yeah.
it was nice to get that kind of civilian
Yep.
idea of like what it's like to live in Tokyo 3.
Right.
While all of this just Ava stuff is going on, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
while all these giant robots are coming in to
Yeah.
try to destroy the city.
Or you routinely have to like get into a shelter.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And it was nice to have that kind of perspective, but it didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Overall, and that's kind of that's a
well-
big critique of the series for me.
Okay. For me, I think Toji's character was really just there to push Shinji along. I mean, because in my mind, I didn't really mind the fact he survived because Shinji, based on Shinji's reaction, I mean, he was basically dead. I mean,
Yeah.
Shinji reacted very much the way like if he did kill him.
Yeah.
So I didn't really mind that personally. I was like, all right, whatever. Toji had his time in the spotlight. Now you're gone. Because it's like we have some darkness to get to. You might want to get out of the way, kid.
Yeah. And he did, thankfully.
Things are getting very, very dark and weird very fast.
But yeah, my point being that he like if he died, it would have.
You would have liked it more. If
It
he
would
died.
have been all that
That's
stronger.
fair. That's
I
fair.
thought it would have been stronger.
That's fair.
If he died.
Okay, I can understand that. I can genuinely.
And he
understand.
wasn't doing anything for the rest of the series, so like,
All right,
I
yeah.
don't even know like why.
And we still need to find out the name of the camera guy.
Yeah, I don't know. He was a whole nother character that I was just like, whatever, man.
No, he was,
But
he was there to be the bridge between. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Shinji and Toji.
He was kind of like somebody like in the first part of the show, you were like, okay, what's gonna happen? And the end of the show, you just didn't think about him at all.
Yeah.
Same thing with we don't even get a name, but class rep.
The class rep. Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't know.
But on the other hand, some other side characters that were very interesting. Professor Fuyutsuki.
Yep.
It's a very interesting character because he, of course, as you could tell from the first time that he was introduced, had a huge boner for Yui.
Yep.
Was big on Yui. Wanted to definitely
Do stuff.
love and marry Yui for a very long time.
But then Gendo swept in.
And then took Yui's last name.
See, that hit me when I'm like, whoa, really?
Boy.
That's a great, especially that's just a great way to show like, hey, this guy fucking loves this girl.
Yep. And I think that'll even come back to an argument later, of course, in the end of Ava.
Yeah,
I think Professor Fuyutsuki plays an interesting role in the end of Ava, too.
he does. Yeah.
As he does throughout the series. I mean, there is that one episode that kind of dives into the background behind him.
Right, and
Nerve.
Gendo and Yui. So that was a cool little episode.
Yeah, that was interesting. It didn't do a lot for me at the time because I was like, what are they actually talking about?
Okay.
But after I like watched the end of the show, I was like, okay, I kind of get where they were going with that a little
It
bit.
was an episode that was probably needed. I'll be honest. If there's one episode of Ava that kind of made me gloss over, excluding the recap episode, but if one episode that made me kind of go like, okay, I get it. Well, that was probably that one. Just I'm like, Gendo, you get it.
See,
you
I was
asshole.
looking for that episode to do more than it did because
Gotcha.
me being the guy that needs the
You
plot,
need the narrative, yeah.
I was like, all right, finally, somebody to just come in here and just it's like in Darling, right? How they had that one episode of like Dr. Franks just being like, here's everything, guys. That's what I needed. And I'm glad
Are you saying that Darling in the Franxx is similar to Neon Genesis Evangelion?
You know, I've been doing a lot of research and I've concluded that like maybe.
Strong maybe. You said that show wasn't bad. We'll get to that
We'll
later.
revisit that.
We'll get back to that topic some other time. But yeah, Fuyutsuki, I loved his like constant presence in the background. He was at some moments he felt like he was pushing Gendo. Some moments he was like, oh, Gendo's going crazy again.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a very interesting role in the story. I loved I'm not gonna remember any of their names, but I loved the three main characters who operated like the nerve I guess to say control panel. The ones who are monitoring all the Ava pilots.
Yes.
There, because he had the one with the glasses, the dude with long hair, and the girl.
They were working a very interesting part in the show because they
subtly got development as the show went on.
They did.
It was very subtle.
It was very subtle development, but they, to me, seemed to be more like narrators than anything else.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because they did a lot of play-by-play commentary of what was
They were
happening.
basically commentators.
They were commentators.
They were
like,
filling
what
us
was
in.
happening, like what's behind this, especially in End of Ava.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
Which we'll get to. But I think that they really played the part of just being like extraneous, like
filling us in. I'd say.
filling us in
really,
on things.
Because we could see an Ava's like arm getting ripped off or whatever,
Yeah.
but we not understand the gravitas, and they will say like, "Okay, this is happening right now." I'm like, "Okay, fucking good. I need this information."
Yes.
They're basically Kevin Kelly.
Yeah, Kevin Kelly, yeah, and JR.
Yeah, exactly. So I loved them. There was subtle little things in here, like, all right, does the one in the glasses have a thing for Masato?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. The way they just they did all these things, it was gradual over the course of the series. They never felt the need to hammer any of it home.
Mm-hmm.
And Ritsuko's bullying all of them because Ritsuko is a very she smoked a lot. She was a bully of a woman who smoked a lot.
Ritsuko was a very interesting character in that she kind of could have gone any way.
Yes.
In that story, and she maintained, like, I don't know, like, who she was on the side of, who she was like with, like, was she kind of Misato's friend? Because that relationship was really weird, because, you know, they'd go for drinks sometimes, but
it was clear they were better friends at one point.
Yeah.
They made it very clear, like, because when they went for drinks, I think it was Ritsuko said, hey, we haven't done this in a while. It felt like they were way better friends at some point in the story.
But that had changed for some reason.
That had changed.
And, like, you see Ritsuko come over to Misato's apartment with, like, the kids.
Yeah.
And, like, once. I have to play a game or something.
Yeah.
So it's a very weird relationship between the two. And, of course...
it seems like a strained friendship, which I liked.
It does.
Because that's a very human take. Like, hey, friendships... sometimes they get strained and they're hard to maintain and rebuild.
It does.
So that was really cool for me to see that.
Ritsuko is a character that became a lot more interesting to me as the series went on.
Oh, totally.
In the beginning, I was like, yeah, whatever.
She was
like
the stern...
like a scientist kind of person.
She was bad cop almost to Masato's good cop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
In the very beginning, where Masato was the motherly one pushing Shinji into the pilot, Ritsuko was the one like, all right, bring out Rei.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's not dead.
Right.
But put her in. She's bleeding to death, but she's not dead.
But whatever. Just get her out here.
Put her in the robot.
Yeah. She, I think, was the voice of Gendo when Gendo wasn't around.
Right.
You know? She's that kind of like probably because, you know...
Well, their mouths touch a lot.
Yes, their mouths touch.
So like his voice literally transferred through her throat.
Yes, and other parts of theirs have touched as well. Ew. But yeah, Ritsuko plays an interesting part in this show. I think, but, you know... to kind of the point of other side characters, I do think that she had kind of a bigger role in pushing things along as the show went.
Right.
She had more distinct relationships with each character.
Yes.
She was also kind of playing this role of like, do I get emotionally attached to these children, or do I kind of play more of a Gendo kind of?
Yeah.
Like,
or do I be more stern?
Right. Because her mother, of course, is somebody that she talks about quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, her mother comes up a lot.
Yeah, and how her mother created the Magi to be, what was it? It was like herself as a mother,
yes,
herself as a woman, and herself as like
the third one,
a lover or something like that, or herself as a lady with purple hair. What are the genes there? How did Ritsuko get blonde hair? It's never.
I think it was dyed.
Oh,
because actually, I think
could be dyed.
Did she have some like dark roots? I don't remember. I'm trying to
know.
No, because there was a scene earlier on where they showed her and she had different hair color.
That's right, she did. Oh,
so it was dyed.
Weird.
But cool, they address it. I love when anime addresses the crazy hair.
It's nice. I'm like, cool. That's pretty.
But Masato always have the purple hair? I believe so. Yeah. It's hard to tell because I think the flashback with Masato. Oh, we haven't talked about Masato's dad yet.
Oh yeah, Dr. Kutaragi.
Yep.
Right.
Katsuragi. Katsuragi.
Dr. Katsuragi.
Yep, Katsuragi.
Yes,
Masato,
I mean, because that's a whole nother part of the story that I think was also glossed over.
Yeah,
that I would love to know more about.
The second impact.
Is the second impact, and like what exactly triggered the second impact, and of course, due to supplementary materials, I've been able to figure out.
I think they did cover the second impact.
What triggered the second impact? They did a good job at giving you kind of an idea of what triggered the second impact without coming out and telling you.
Yeah.
Exactly what triggered it, which this show does a really good job of doing, is like almost telling you something, but not quite.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I love.
Oh, God, it frustrated me.
I can fill in the blanks myself. I will spend more time with what matters. Give me more of the characters. Yeah. I'll fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
And then, the great scene, Dr. Katsuragi put the cross around Masato's necklace. The cross around Masato's neck. She's in the little silo, the little pod, looking back. At and seeing all the destruction and the chaos. It's like, my dad's dead, and everyone's dead. Cool.
How'd she get home?
Don't know. But if you want to own one of the key frames of animation for that scene,
wow,
better rip out $6,000 because it was either $4,000 or $6,000 last time I checked on eBay. The actual cell.
I got that right here. There we go.
Yeah,
that's my $6,000.
That's my $6,000. It's going right on the wall right there. Get to look at a young tortured Masato for the rest of my days.
Fantastic.
Rest of my days. But
But yeah, I think that was an interesting plot point with the second impact. And of course, the first impact was the impact that created humans and society as we know it.
Yep.
Man. Let's also talk about another kind of character or group of characters. Let's talk about the angels.
Yeah, sure.
What were your impressions of the Angels? What did you like about them? What did you not like about them, if anything? Like what were they to you? I guess as the show went along.
I really liked what they did with the Angels because it all a lot of shows and a lot of, especially anything in the superhero genre, they'll have the narrative where the enemy is this vast, unknown, destructive force that you're not supposed to know anything about.
Right.
And in order for that narrative to succeed, your main cast has to be strong, which Ava. So I was fine with not really knowing too much about the Angels, but they did explain how the Angels were like, the predecessors to humanity.
Right.
So I don't remember if that was in the original series or
there
if that
was
in the end of Ava. But,
again, like things are getting mixed up. I know they didn't explain it in the series because like I had to look at so much shit after the series to figure it out. Because one of my big questions is, what are the Angels?
Yeah.
And that's a big question that you get if you Google something about Ava. It's like, what are the Angels? What are the Avas?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Because people want a straight answer. And the Angels, from what I've gathered, the humans are children of Lilith,
yes,
who is one of like those huge godlike beings,
right,
with the black moon,
yep,
and which is, as we find out in End of Ava, it turns out to be the Geofront, on the black moon, and the Angels are children of Adam,
right.
I think it's children of knowledge are children of Lilith, which are humans, and children of something else is the children of Adam, and those are the Angels,
right.
So angels and humans just come from a different origins, I guess. And angels are significantly more powerful, as we've seen.
Yes.
But I think that the Angels were a very interesting foil.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of series tend to be like, okay, here's the new guy, new boss, same as the old boss kind of mentality.
Right.
Every angel was different.
That's what I loved.
And every angel pushed them to think in a different way.
That goes back to why I love the show as a mech, because the strategy you needed to use
changed.
The answer wasn't a big fucking drill, for example, or a bigger drill.
All right, all right.
I mean, it was great because it just pushed them to think more, and that's why I love that militaristic aspect in my mechs.
Yes. And that was pretty cool. And talking about angels, let's talk about one of the angels, who is Kaworu.
Yep. Kaworu. Like
Kaworu.
I feel like everyone in both dubs pronounce it differently.
They really do. It's a difference across the board.
And they can't even agree in all the official Ava material. I'm sure there's an official romanization of the name, but some people put a W. That was a deep neck crack, by the way. That probably picked up on the mic.
Oh, I hope it did.
I heard it from
heard
it from here, and we're a couple feet away from each other. Anyway, so Kaworu was very interesting because he was I forget the number of angel he was.
He's the 17th.
He was the 17th.
The 18th angel is people.
Yes. Because, they're delineated from similar origin. Yeah, but anyway. So Kaworu, his role in Ava gets expanded a lot in other materials. Rebuild and the manga. Because it's weird. There's also, just for the record, for those who are wondering, is Ava based off anything? No. It's a television original. However, Ava's Ava and had a lot of production troubles. Mm-hmm. So the manga actually came out first because the show got delayed. But they're like, fuck it, you gotta launch the manga. We're already signed all the contracts. So, But if anyone's confused by this, no, the manga is an original story based on the TV series.
Wow.
The TV is the TV's original source.
Wow.
So Kaoru's role gets expanded a lot in other materials. So now in my head, I'm filtering those out and just trying to remember the one episode he was in.
Yes.
I loved it because suddenly there was a fourth waifu for Shinji, and it was a boy. This goes back to the differences between the two dubs.
Yeah.
There's a scene of them in the tub. I think their hands touch. Shinji's blushing because all he did around Kaoru was keep blushing.
Yep.
Because, he's developing. His sense of lust is developing. And maybe his sense of sexuality even. He doesn't know how he feels about anybody. Mm-hmm. He wants to, he has lustful feelings towards his surrogate family. So he's he's confused. And you're a teenager, so that's very natural. And suddenly this dashing young boy comes into his life. And here's the thing. In the original dub, after Kaoru gets out of the tub, there's a couple lines of dialogue, and then the line comes out where he says, I love you. He says, I like you in the Netflix dub, And for some reason, this caused so much outrage.
Really?
This caused a whirlpool of controversy when the dub came out because people accused Netflix of trying to wipe away the gay undertones. I'm like, you can't do that. They're very much present in the animation.
Oh, they're very much there.
They're fucking there.
No. It was there the whole time.
And it was still very clear. And honestly, okay, because I can come at this from two different angles. I'll give you both real quick. I can give you how the line read in Japanese, and I can give you artistic liberty, like just from a adaptation standpoint.
Sure.
The actual word that Kaoru used in the dub, in the original Japanese, he said a word that can be roughly, he said ski, which can either translate to love or like. It all depends on the context.
I see.
So people translate it both ways. Personally, I thought the translation was actually more appropriate here. Because, especially since he was specifically saying it towards Shinji, if Kaoru, we learned he's an angel, but if one boy, especially in that age, is trying to tell another boy he might have feelings for him, saying you like them, in my mind, is way more appropriate. And it kind of plays in to Shinji's whole confusion about the situation. Because that's the big thing with Shinji. He's confused about how he feels about Kaoru. And the fact that he has to kill them at the end of the episode really confuses the boy. And so that's just my way to address the dub controversy. I actually it gets so minimal. It doesn't matter, but I feel like I have to address it.
Yes.
I marginally prefer the way they handle it in the Netflix dub. Very marginally.
The way I saw Kaoru was, I think he came in the series too late.
He did.
Vastly too late.
Yes.
He came in, and within that episode, he was dead.
Yeah.
And I just don't think he was around enough to make a believable, lasting impact on Shinji.
Yeah.
But he clearly did, which kind of makes me think that the entire time that like Shinji was hanging out with Kaoru and stuff like that, I thought that it might have been a fever dream of some sort. Okay. Because it happened so quickly and fast, and like, where'd this guy come from? He's gonna pilot the new Eva.
Yeah.
What the hell is this? Where'd they get him?
Well, I honestly
none of that's ever answered, really.
Well, they say they brought him in from somewhere. They do address it, and we had to also maybe address why they had to bring it in, because our favorite girl Asuka was going through a bout of crippling depression to the point she was comatose and almost died.
Yeah.
She was content to let herself die in a tub in an abandoned building. Boy, I thought we covered all the main points about the main characters, but we did not. Yeah, no, Asuka basically was withering away to death. Her sync rates plummeted because in one of the angel battles, she had all the flashbacks to her mother we mentioned in part 1 of this two-parter. She had all those flashbacks, and the depression was so crippling because now she can no longer pilot an Eva. So her whole reason for, Kaji didn't want to do anything with her, and now she can't even pilot an Eva. So all her reasons for existing in this world are disappearing.
Yeah, gone.
And she's reminded about, the death of her mother, so she can't even bring herself to pilot the Eva anymore. And she's literally withering away to death because she's so depressed she can't move. And that's why we get Kaoru. And for me, I got the he was brought in too late. And in other adaptations of the story, they've addressed it. And they've introduced him way earlier, as he was probably originally intended. But then Ava was such a disaster behind the scenes that I understand things went wrong.
Sure.
But for me, I interpreted it as that Shinji had a lot of feelings for the guy, and it confused him. And he was really upset about the fact that he had to kill him, because I definitely could understand if he had a romantic feelings for him.
Well, what I really liked about Kaoru, right? What I didn't like, of course, as we said, was like, okay, a little too late. It was a little too late to have that kind of relationship in the show, I think. But the thing that I did really like about it is that at the end of the day, when I was watching, Kaoru is the only character I saw express genuine affinity for Shinji. Which was very important, because I don't think any character up until that point went to Shinji and, like, translation aside,
Right.
said, "I like you,"
Exactly.
or "I love you."
Exactly.
And Kaoru was the only person throughout the entire series, and we know how fucked up Shinji is from not being told that by his own father, right?
Right.
Misato, kind of weird relationship between the two, as we've addressed.
Yep.
But at no point, I think, did
Yeah.
Misato ever say, "I love you," or "I like you," or "I'm happy to be with you."
I think she said at one point where she there. I don't think she.
Or it was an implied feeling, possibly.
Yeah. There was a few lines that
But Kaoru came out to me as a character that outright came up to Shinji within the same time that he met him,
Yeah.
within 5 minutes, and just said, "Hey, I like you.
Yep.
You're cool. Let's hang out."
Yep.
That I will probably say that has never happened to Shinji before, other than with his friends at school,
Yes.
like a Toji or like the other guy with the camera or whatever.
Exactly. And now Shinji's confused because this boy is super cute.
He's really cute, and he has red eyes.
Yep. Oh, more red eyes.
That's not weird at all. That's not strange.
Might be Shinji's kink. We don't know.
It could be his kink. Yeah, that's for sure. Is he Yui? Probably. But he comes in, right? And it does.
I'm not ready. Stop. I'm not. And Shinji Yui. If we do a crackpot video on that, I'd be so happy. But keep going. Sorry.
But yeah, so I mean that's what I appreciated about his character is
Right.
that he was Shinji. I feel like opens up so much to him,
Right.
Because he likes Shinji,
Yes.
or he at least leads
feels
Shinji.
something for
he
Shinji.
feels that he likes him.
A deep affinity for the
So
man.
I'm like, okay, finally, Shinji has like somebody that
To
he can
act
open up to.
who cares about him, and you said it best. Like there's no ulterior motives. There's
Right.
no other reason for them to
Right.
like him.
Right.
It's not his mom maybe in a clone. It's not a girl who hates him in Asuka who loves and hates him in some ways.
Yes, and it's not Misato who likes him, but with a guise of I still have to get him to do something.
And then we learned at the end of Ava she might really like him. And there's also
I have thoughts about that too.
and then also let's address. Okay, can also we've been dancing around this for a little bit.
Yes.
When Shinji was going through the very rough patch, I think it might have been. I'm trying to remember the chronologically because Ava, to me, it's just so much emotion that whenever I think about it, I can't keep the narrative
It's
straight.
hard to keep a timeline on it.
But it might be 22, 23, maybe. I forget the catalyst. Maybe when Rei 2 sacrificed herself. I forgot what it was. There's a big catalyst. Shinji was distraught, and this one action really changed the dynamic of the relationship between Masato and Shinji for me.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Where Masato was like, I forget what the line was, but she's like, I want to help you, or I wish I knew how I can help you. And then it cuts to the two of their hands on, because Shinji's like sitting on his bed, doesn't know what to do, he's depressed. Masato sits next to him, and then it cuts to their hand, and Masato says, all I can do is, while she puts her hand on Shinji's, and Shinji freaks out. And then my first time watching it, my honest thought was, no, that can't be what I think it was. No, she did not just offer to. No, Misato, no. And
He's
then
14.
And then the end of the series happened where Masato was like during her emotional climax in episode 26, I believe,
right,
where she was like when she really addressed her how she was blaming herself for using sexuality in certain ways to get things out of people, and I'm like, oh, she might have very much done what I thought she did. So, yeah. So, Shinji had that going on in his head when he met Kaoru, and that's a much more innocent romance compared to, like, my surrogate mom offered to do me. Can't even say it without kind of freaking out. But, yeah, so Shinji, so Kaoru he did have a role in the story. Everyone wished he got introduced earlier, and in various iterations, he did. Cool dude. I'm going to give him the cool dude badge.
Cool dude.
And he basically begged Shinji to kill him at one point.
Yeah.
And Shinji, he had him in the hand of the, basically he held Kaoru in the hand of the Ava and then did the whole squish.
Yeah. Kaoru it brings to mind the question that a lot of people do in this series. Like,
okay.
Cool dude, what is he? Like, what the hell is he? Right? He's an angel, yeah. Right? I guess, but like, what is he? Where did he come from? What is his purpose here? Like, what is he doing? What is he trying to do?
Yeah.
I need some things explained. I just need some things.
I know, and maybe I'm too lenient just because of the strong emotional impact. But then again, we could address this in a couple of minutes when we discuss the end of Evangelion, because he gets a little more explained there.
He does,
but
he
only
does.
marginally.
Everything gets a little more explained marginally, like very little bit.
Should we take a little pause before we talk about the end of Eva?
Let's take a pause, but since we are kind of coming to the close of our Evangelion series proper,
The series proper, yeah.
Group of episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, does it hold up?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it does.
I have to tell one story.
In that way, yeah. Yes, continue.
Sorry, I have to tell one story because I knew, because like on the theme of the show is like we like to generally ask a question: is this anime bad? Are we going to keep watching after 3 episodes? This is the first time I knew the answer going in, because I've been telling people to watch Eva forever. And recently, we went to a friend's housewarming party, a mutual friend, and it was the classic bouncy. I'm going to black out for 45 minutes and then sit down for 15 minutes and then be fine. You've done this since we've been drinking together, which
yes.
we're 27 now, so probably 7 years.
Approximately, yeah.
Probably approximately 7 years, because we went to other countries where we can do it. We can drink legally over there.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this thing where you'll just black out for 45 minutes, then sit down, and you're fine. Then you're actually fine. I don't know if you just chug water by yourself because your body you don't even remember.
I don't know how I do it.
I don't know.
I have no answer for you.
I have several great stories, but this one's relevant to the podcast. We were with a bunch of weebs, and the weebs took over the music situation. So they're playing a bunch of music. I found the laptop or the device, and I put the theme to Evangelion on the
A Cruel Angel's Thesis.
Yes, which I learned every word of before I actually watched the show. I should have mentioned that.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll bring that up real. That's a real quick story, because I was studying in Japan for a few months, and everyone knew I liked anime, and so everyone said, "Did you watch Eva yet?" And I said no, and they said, "Oh, you bum."
You bum.
Something to that effect. But then again, even people who I didn't know, they would just put on Cruel Angel's Thesis, because it's a hit song over there.
Yeah.
It's a very popular tune.
It's a really good track.
It's a great song. It's a karaoke
so
night staple.
good.
So I knew that was 2014. So I knew the song for 7 years before I actually watched the show.
Wow.
I knew every word. Anyway,
Incredible.
at this housewarming party, you might have entered this state I mentioned, and to this group of weebs who took over the music, you just turned to them. It was like you just turned to them. I can't do your slur very well when you're gone, and you just went, "Have you watched Eva yet?" No, John, we haven't. Watch Evangelion. You were adamant, and it was so fun for me.
I specifically accosted our friend Mike's girlfriend, and I was like,
so you remember this?
Yeah, no, I went up to her, and I was like, "Have you watched Evangelion?" And she was like, "No, I haven't." I was like, "Well, do it. Do it right now."
I didn't realize you weren't even blackout. You just wanted everyone.
I was near.
You were getting close.
I was quick.
on the cusp, but that's amazing.
Yeah.
So long story short, too late. This show holds up. I mean, there's a reason why it's so beloved.
Holds up.
In Japan, it's like one of the most mainstream anime there is.
Yes.
Because like if you say Dragon Ball or Eva, people roll their eyes like, okay, one of these fans. Like you only watching popular stuff.
Yeah.
Where it's funny, Eva became more niche in America, but in Japan, it's just the big deal. And there's a reason. It is groundbreaking, especially when you consider the show was made in 1995. I adored the original series, and I adored a lot of what's came out after it. And for me, I recommend Eva to people who don't watch anime.
Mm-hmm.
I just love Eva as a story. It's challenging in all the right ways. It's fun. Like the first couple episodes are really fun, and then the escalation of insanity, I like to call it, around episode 16. A lot of my favorite shows have that escalation around the halfway point.
Mm-hmm.
And Eva, it's this escalation of just like madness and dread.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Just really feeling for these characters. So I recommend Eva to anybody.
Yeah. I think it's a testament that in 2021, like we can watch an anime from 1995.
Yeah. And still
at the end of it be like, that was one of the greatest things I've ever watched.
Yeah. And like I said,
and it really is. It really is.
It really is for me.
And it may not be my favorite anime of all time, But it is one thing that I am so happy that I did get to experience.
Exactly.
And I think that everybody, if you like anime, if you don't,
should try it.
Watch it.
It's 26 episodes.
Give it a go.
And one of them's a recap episode that you can realistically skip.
Yes. It holds up definitely. It will till the ends of time.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just one of those pieces of art that is at such an interesting place. And of course, by its creator, Hideaki Anno is like just like such a staple of the entire culture behind anime.
Yep.
And the entire culture behind just good stories.
Yeah, just good.
It's just a good story.
That's the thing. It's a great good story with some great fucking characters.
As much as I blow up about the lack of detail and the lack of what do you call it, payoff, it is fantastic by every margin,
right? And
it should be held in very high regard, as it has been for a very long time.
Right. So
completely agree.
So anyone listening right now, if you need to convince your friends to watch Eva, go do it. What are you doing?
Yeah.
From our perspective, at least, it holds up. It's like I said, my new favorite anime, one of my new favorite media franchises ever. Love it to death, and it just recently concluded with the Rebuild series, and now I get to enjoy it for the end of time. So I'm very grateful for Hideaki Anno. I can't wait to watch all the cutie honey stuff you did for no reason. So thank you, Anno. You're a cool dude.
He's a cool dude.
Now he's moved up on my list to probably in my top 5 of people I want to have a beer with. And of course, it has to be Ebisu, or we're doing this wrong.
Or not. Yeah.
I mean, it could be piss in a can. And if he's drinking it, I'm going to drink it.
Well, either way, everybody, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to our first 2-parter.
Yes,
it holds up. It holds up. Go watch it. Oh, if you haven't watched it, I'm sorry.
Go do it. It's necessary.
Yeah, you've been completely spoiled, but but if you need to convince someone to watch it, mainly go convince them. What are you doing?
Exactly.
Bully them if you have to.
Exactly. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time. With the end of Evangelion, which we're getting to next.
We've reached the end of the series, but not the end of the original continuity.
Nope. So we're going to get to that right after this. Also, because I wanted to take a second at the end for a bit of a bonus. So I have yet to tell you, because I didn't deem it important enough to talk about it during the actual podcast.
Okay.
But I'm going to leave this in as a little bit at the end.
Sure.
Do you want to know the thing I hated the most about Evangelion?
Yeah, sure.
The thing that ate my bones.
Okay.
Every single day. The thing that just fucking
every day?
Every episode, I just could not fucking stand it. Do you want to know what that was?
I think I might know.
The sounds of the bugs.
Really?
The bug sounds.
The cicadas?
The cicada sounds. Every scene that they're outside, these fucking cicadas, they're the loudest thing in the show by a margin.
Right.
The character's dialogue has to live within the cicada sounds. Every fucking episode I watched, they were outside at school. All I would hear is wee, wee, wee.
That's a very interesting critique.
Oh my God. If the sound guy for this show could turn that down like 5 dB, this show would be a perfect show. That's completely oh my God.
The cicadas was the big thing you hated?
So mad. I was like, can you stop? Can somebody just fade this track out after 2 seconds? Because through every scene they were outside, just fucking cicadas everywhere.
I'll be honest. Who knows? That might have actually started with Eva, because now cicada sounds in anime are ubiquitous.
It's everywhere, right? But at least
I don't know. I have no. By the way, for the actual anime historians out there, I have nothing to base that claim on or that ideal. But who knows? Eva influenced so much.
But I've seen a lot of these. I've heard a lot of them in, for example, Devilman Crybaby. They're in there.
Oh yeah.
In a lot. Well,
Devilman Crybaby took a lot of influence from Eva.
Sure,
we'll get to that.
But
later,
in a lot of the shows that I've been watching recently, when they have outdoor scenes, they're a cicada track.
Right.
Sure. Eva, they're 10 times louder than everywhere else.
Might have been the early stages of trying to understand the levels. Yeah.
Oh my God. It honestly killed me. I was like, it was so annoying, especially during the scenes where they would stay on a still for 3 minutes.
Oh yeah,
I
the
was
real
like,
artsy
oh,
scenes.
God.
Yeah. At first, I didn't know how to handle those scenes in particular, but I learned to love them because of all the fucking tension they.
Yeah, no, it was good in terms of like, oh wow, I'm glad that they get to let me like sit with this and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but not with cicada sounds. Jeez, oh my God, those were so annoying the entire time.
That is the most interesting critique I have ever heard of.
That's my biggest critique. I just didn't deem it important enough to talk about it in the main show.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm glad you got it. I'm glad you got to get it off your chest.
I needed to get it. What did you think my critique was?
I didn't really think about it too much. I assumed it was sound related.
Interesting.
Yeah, I assumed that it was either. I assumed it was sound related, but I couldn't gather what it was. I didn't spend too much time thinking about it. I thought your biggest critique actually would have been the plot elements, or how now they got the payoff.
Yeah, sure. I mean that hurt, but
But the cicadas are what drove you crazy.
Oh, cicadas drove me crazy. That and oh my God, the sound effects were insane throughout the series.
Yeah.
That were on that subject, but like the that sound that kind of sounds like a distorted ambulance.
Yeah,
Like the dun dun dun
Yeah.
dun dun. Like
Yeah.
what it kind of sounded like your mind breaking,
yeah.
and that was crazy. I loved hearing that.
The sound design in this anime, with the exception of the cicadas, I guess, was pretty solid. The music was pretty good too. The music was actually very Toku inspired, very Ultraman, very Rider, and that might have been at Anno's direction. Like, hey, make it sound like this.
Yeah.
Some of it found is very triumphant. I got notes of Gundam and Battleship Yamato. Basically everything Anno loves. Because Anno didn't have a hand in the music, but I can see him giving it the green light unequivocally.
Yes, completely.
Yeah, Masato's theme is probably my favorite song. It's the dun 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 down down down.
That one's really good.
Yeah, there's a lot of really. I love the fun sounding themes.
Yeah.
Asuka's.
And then Ray's, which is just sad.
Oh, yeah, where it's
just
haunting.
sad.
Haunting.
It's just haunting. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Wow. I love how we're 2 hours in and it's like, oh, music.
Yeah, I figured after 2 hours in, I'd finally bring up the fucking cicadas.
That's a very interesting critique. I'm very glad you brought that up.
It's just,
I don't even have a response.
I
I'm
just
like,
had to turn it down.
I'm just like, I'm sorry. I
I'm
annoyed you.
not pissed at there being cicada noises. Just don't
turn
make
them
it the
down.
main thing, you know? It's just,
turn it down.
turn it down.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
so Ava, good.
Yeah,
Have
fucking
fun.
bye. Bye, everybody.
It's bad.
Wow, oh my God, what a rousing podcast of anime conversation. Am I right, my compares? Am I right, my weebdom? Anywho, yeah, you can send us a message if you want. Did you like this podcast? Did you hate this podcast? Do you want to kill me? Do you want to drench me in Calaxosaur blood and watch me drink it? That's fine. Just send us an email at badanimepod@gmail.com or DM us on our Instagram at badanimepod, all one word. You can also find us on YouTube as Bad Anime, and you could leave a comment on whatever video you want to leave a comment on. We'll read them all anyways. We don't care. I love you. Kiss, kiss.
In your ear. Podcast Network.